All right, so now I am continuing, and what I like to do now is show you how I apply the glue to the brush. Just flip it back and forth, get a nice smooth amount of glue, and one at a time, I want to lift the pictures. I'm going to start with the center and flip that picture over, apply the glue. It's okay to go out past the edges. Right now, you can't see it, but I'm just dipping my brush again. And then flip this over and put it wherever, put it where you want it. Okay, and then just with my finger, I'm just going to flatten it a little bit, like so. And I'm going to go to the next picture, flip it, and I just continue that way till they're all down. After they all get put where I want to put them, or where you put yours, then what happens is you're going to go over the whole thing with the glue, and that seals it. See that in a minute. Well, it'll take a while, actually. While I'm doing this, if you want to get started with cutting your pictures out and placing them, you can do that. And like I had told you, what I did was I actually made these various sizes specifically to fit the way I wanted to. I left white space in between them. And I did that purposely because I knew actually it wouldn't be white. It is polka dotted. And so I wanted to make sure that there was enough free space where those polka dots showed. Now this part's a little tricky because it's going to bend, and like I said, I may have to patch it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it so it looks like it's a nice bend, and then I'll worry about the patch later on. I want it to follow around the shape of the plate. This plate has a really nice shape. That's something that really drew me to it. It's almost like it's square, but it has very rounded corners. And I really like that. And I got this at the dollar store, which is so wonderful. I think I probably paid $3 for the plate. And it's a really nice heavy glass plate. It's amazing what you could find in the dollar store. And I'm sure that if you wanted to make these and you advertised it, you could make a little business out of this. Because I think people would really like if they sent you their pictures and you made them plates for special occasions. I think it would be kind of fun. I was actually thinking about it too. But I think that there is a desire for people to have things like this. They're very special. They're keepsakes, and not everybody wants to get out the glue. Wants to, to do this. So, now again, you see, I'm just wiping this, and now I'm flipping this and applying it. So, you could serve a good purpose and make a little money, a little extra money doing that if you wanted to. Or you could just do them as gifts or do them for yourself for fun. There's so many reasons why you might want to make them. And as you could see, this Coco is a big part of it, is an important part of their family. Coco's like their little child, their pet dog. And she is a love bug. She loves to just give you kisses, and she gets so excited when I come there. She's a very affectionate dog. So I'm actually very happy for them, though, that they're going to be moving to a beautiful place. They showed me pictures in San Diego. And of course, I'll miss them, but I think what every parent wants is happiness for their children. And I know that they're very happy. And that's what's the most important thing. I also wanted to mention, if you notice, I rounded out the corners on some of these photographs. I didn't really want square corners just because the plate has that nice rounded appearance. I kind of wanted to repeat that in this. It's cool. That's an element. In art, it's repeats actually unite the design, brings it all together. And don't worry if this takes you a long time. If you're working on it now, as I'm working on it, and you feel like it does take a long time, that's normal. I worked on this for hours. I was really surprised how long it took. It's just the nature of it. But you got to figure that the person's going to have it for many, many years, the people that you're giving it to. So it's worth it. It's a special thing for them. All right, so now I have all of my things placed, and then I look at it and I decide, is there something that like looks like I don't like it? Like I feel like I don't think I really like this. There. I'm gonna move this so that it has all the dots behind it. Maybe I feel like it needs something here, and this should be more over. I'm not really sure, but I'm not that happy with it. Or I could just add some more flowers that aren't coming that way. So if you see something like that, you go back to your stash over here of your pictures and you decide, well, what can I do that if I feel like, I don't really like that much, I want to add something, and do that. Just add something on. Now I have these tulips, which are cute. There, I have them on the bottom. What would happen if I did them upside down on the top? That could look really pretty. So maybe I should take this off and try that. I think that might look really nice. Sort of symmetrical. I happen to have them. And then try it. See what it looks like. So right now I'm cutting it. Let's see what happens. Well, it's running off the edge. Doesn't really fit. I like it, but it doesn't totally fit. So that's what you call a little bit of a problem. Because I already glued down my doggy. All right. Well, here it's actually overlapping. So maybe you could overlap the puppy dog. Just go behind him a little bit. Or it feels like it's pretty much stuck. You know what? Sometimes you have to say, well, perfection is not the most important thing. It's the overall appearance of it. And the overall appearance, I think it really does look good. So I'm going to put it up here, just like that. And consider, oh, look, I hadn't even stuck these down yet. And I thought I did. And now I'm going to put those down. Okay. Look at that. Beautiful. Now, regarding that little pack, I'm thinking this might look nice. This sort of design. You could see that right there, those flowers. I'm going to card right around them. And I think I'll make a pretty batch for right in here. They just look like they belong there. Adorable. And I could put one here too. I happen to have another one. Right there. A little bigger, but that's all. That looks nice. Oh yes, I like that. That's very nice. Okay. And I feel like it needs something here at the end. So maybe I'll just add, look at my flowers that aren't too big. And think about what could get added to the end over here. And maybe what I'll do is I'll add another one of these little round ones towards the end. Like that. And it fills in the space nicely. Oh yes, that's cute. And now the spaces are more even on each side there. And so I just kind of eyeball it and decide and make sure that I like everything. I feel like maybe there could be some leaves on that side or even something. So I'm going to just cut out from here some leaves. So if the flowers don't exactly suit you, you can make sure that your spaces get filled up yourself, just like that. You can alter them a little bit, but like that. So I'm looking here. I like that space around here. I like how my eye flows. I'm looking around, and everything looks pretty nice. I think the eye is flowing well. This is all down. All right, now the next step would be to make sure that this is adhered to the back. I want to flip this over. That looks pretty cool. Like that. And then this has to get adhered to here. And that's a little bit tricky. I'm going to be trimming it afterwards. Well, perhaps not. Actually, now I'm looking at it and I see it's going to have, let's see if it will fit that way. Yeah, it's going to actually have to get rounded out a little bit away from the edge. So I have to center it on here and then just with a pencil decide exactly where I want to trim it. So that is what I'm going to do. And let's see, got a pencil over here. That's not a good pencil. I'm going to get a dark one. Okay. All right. So now this is centered on each side. And now I'm holding this. This is centered on each side. And what I want to do is just figure out here. Let's see. This is probably going to have to crease in here too. It's going to have to definitely, or I can make a slice. I'll have to slit open. Yep, I think so. All right, it's going to have a slice. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Then it'll lay flatter. See? Okay. Otherwise, it's not going to lay flat. I think you can see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. And I'm going to put a slice here. And I'm going to do the same thing on all the corners. Make a slice here. Because if there's a situation where they are not laying flat, I might as well pick this up and just do it. Then there's going to be a problem. So this way, it will help it lay flat. And because there's a pattern, it's really not going to be very noticeable that it's sliced when it's glued. Let's see that. So, okay, so now I'm centering it again, and I'm going to decide centered from side to side, centered from top to bottom. Now, this part, I want to trim it a little bit away from the edge. So what I'm going to do is, since this part here is away from the edge there, I'm going to just draw a place a little, I'm rounding it out basically where I'm going to cut it. And I'm doing the same thing here, rounding it out. And then I'm going to go right to there. And so if this is a tiny bit away from the edge, I just want to follow the shape basically of the plate. And it really doesn't have to be perfect, because there is a lot of pattern there, and everybody's looking for those pictures. So it's not like dead on, it's all right. But so now the next thing that I do is with my scissor, I'm going to follow what I did with the pencil. And I'm just going around. In fact, I might even make it a little bit, like leave a little bit extra, a tiny bit, because you could always, you can't, if you take it away, you can't put it back. So I'm going to make sure that I leave enough there. And I can tell already this is going to be fine. And so you wouldn't worry about the pencil, really, except in the very back, and it could get erased. There. Okay. So now the next step is to just paint this whole thing with your glue. So now we're going to need more glue. In fact, you could put it right on here. And this is where a wider brush can come in handy if you like using a wide brush. But I'm just going to use the same brush, this medium brush, and spread it out from the center. And then I'm going to stand up. You wouldn't be able to see, but I'm going to actually stand up and make sure I have my paper centered over it. And even though this is white, it's going to dry perfectly clear. You also want to make sure, though, that it's a smooth, thin coat. Definitely do not want lumps or bumps. So if you notice, I'm really smoothing it out as thin as I can from the center out. It's almost like if you remove bubbles from something, you definitely don't want the bubbles in there. Well, you don't want blobs of the glue in there. You want it to be really, really smooth. And less is more. In other words, you don't need a lot. It's going to stick. And this Elmer's glue is a perfect consistency right now. Sometimes if it's old, you might have to add a little water or something like that, but this was actually pretty fresh, so it's really good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up. I'm just making sure it goes all the way to the edges. The edges are very important And then I'm going to place this paper, making sure that the dot side is facing down so it's going to show through. And I want to make sure also that there is a little bit of clear plate going around as I center it. And it's the same amount of clear on from side to side. And it's really very little. I mean, I could see here, it looks like an eighth of an inch, I would say. And this also looks like about an eighth of an inch. So now what I'm going to do is from the center, I'm going to smooth it out. And in regard to those slits, that worked out well. If you see that you need to trim it some more, like I see right here, it's not really laying very well, you can do that. You can also add another slit. If you think that you need another slit, you can do that. But actually, the paper usually will smooth out and stretch, kind of stretches from being wet. It's pliable. So I don't think we're going to need more slits. I don't believe so. I think just pressing it down, holding it, pressing, smoothing it, you can kind of sculpt it onto the plate and it will stay on there. But you do have to hold it. And there's going to be a little overlap here, that's fine. That's why this slit is there. And there should be a slit here, which is good. So this is going to overlap a tiny bit to get rid of that crease. Okay, so that's what slits are for. So if you need to slide it underneath one part of the slit, like that, and just work on that, getting it to smooth out and pressing it. Press it, press it, press it. Just like that. There you go. And it's actually setting as you're working on it. The glue is setting, so that means it's actually getting. You're getting a better. It's adhering more. And if you feel like you need to trim to make this look nicer and for it to be more even at this point, what you do, pick it up and just fix it. It's where you think that it would look better, and it's going to sit better. And that way, so you'll have your clear plate more even. You can also use an X-Acto knife, by the way. I didn't think that many people would have that, so I didn't really want to use that. And if you don't use it much, you could hurt yourself. So I thought you're more used to scissors, I'll use my scissors. But people do use X-Acto knives. Okay. There we go. There. You see how this has clear around it? And then right here, I'm going to fix that. Okay. Like that. And right here, I'll fix this little piece. Okay. So you just turn it and you look and decide. It's like, where should I do this? Where should I fix that? Okay, now I'm going to flip this over. Oh, look at that. It's coming together. So exciting. I love it because it's all coming together. And like I said, if you are seeing the glue, it is going to be clear. But you will see if it's pulling away, use your fingers to make sure that it's adhering, that it's really, you want to push it, smush it, and make sure that it's nice and flat. And I could see that this is definitely working out nicely. I like this very much. right here. I don't like that, so I'm going to flip this over. There's sort of a point, and so if you don't like something, just pick it up and fix that. Oh, I have to fix that. With your scissor. Or perhaps maybe you do need an X-Acto knife. I think I actually will wait, and I will use one when it dries, and you can do that too. All right, now this whole thing has to be painted over to seal it. So what I'm going to do is put some more of that and make sure I have a nice even coat. Now this is important. You don't want to oversaturate. You want to just do it like as little as possible because you don't want to damage the pictures. So you want nice thin coats. Not too heavy. It will dry clear, but if you keep on smearing it over and over again, you can run into a problem. So you don't want to do that. You want to just keep it as light as you can. See how I'm really keeping it as light as I can over that picture. Mod Podge is made for this. I didn't have any here right now. This works also, but Mod Podge I find can be a little bit easier to work with because it's designed for it. But you just want to make sure that, especially over their faces, it's very, very thin coat. You don't want to have any streaks. Nice and thin. Nice and thin. One time, keep it thin. There you go. Thin, very thin. Put that down so you can see. It has a nice shine now. All right. Keep it thin over the dog. Whoop. Basically, any pictures, you want to make sure that you're keeping it nice and thick. And later on, if you want to add a second coat, you can do that. Or if you do want to Mod Podge it, you could do that with a high gloss or a low gloss, depending on what you want, because it comes in different finishes. But it's kind of fun to make it all come together. And by doing multiple coats, it won't look just like pictures glued on here. It's going to look like one piece that is consistent and that you won't notice the edges of the paper so much. It'll just more like flow when you look at it. See, it went a little bit too heavy there. But sometimes once you've done it, it's a little hard to take it off and you don't want to damage the picture. So got to just kind of roll with it. Do the best you can. So I hope you enjoyed this. And as it turns out, it's about half an hour now, and that's about how much time we had together. So you take care, and it was wonderful doing this for you.